once you bring that client on, once you bring that customer on, it should be a bespoke experience. But that does not mean that it can't be a system. You can systematize that bespoke experience because they need to feel like they are your only client, which of course is not reality because you have bills to pay. But they need to feel that way in order to stay your client and to refer you to the people that they know who could be your clients, and also for them to be able to be your good press. You want raving fans, and we all know what the opposite of raving fans is, right? And we don't want that.
And that should all be baked into the client experience. But and this is something that, I mean, people may be coming and going, okay, Shauna, that's great. That's a part of like the service of your clients. What does this have to do with marketing? What does this have to do with branding? And I'm going to just take a minute to say, okay, let's rewind the clock a little bit. Now, before they say yes to working with you, that whole sales process, that whole marketing experience should have the same dynamic. If your fingers are in everything within that and you don't have the systems and processes set up to guide people through their sales journey with you, then it makes sense to me that you may not have that same journey within the back end, right? Let me ask you something. Why do you feel like you have to have your hands in everything? Why do you feel like you have to control every single step of your business hands on throughout the entire process? And then you wonder why you're burnt out and you're not making money, at least not as much as you could be. Well, that's why we have Juanita here today. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself, why this topic matters to her, and why it should matter to you. Juanita, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shauna. And I appreciate you allowing me to come before your audience today and share exactly what you talked about. Why do we feel as entrepreneurs, whether you're a solopreneur or you even have a small team, why do you feel that you have to have your hand in everything? Meaning that if you take a vacation, your business takes a vacation too. That's not how it's supposed to be. You started your business for a reason. You wanted freedom. You wanted to be able to make the decisions. You want the impact. You're not going to get any of that done if you're burned out, if you are taking care of every step. Now, this starting to sound like a commercial for a virtual assistant agency, of which I do have, but it's more geared towards you actually hearing and understanding that this does not have to be your life, and you do need help. You do need to delegate. You do need to let go. Now, let me tell you about 3 of the areas in which all my years of being a virtual assistant, being a virtual assistant agency, and over the almost 40 years of working in administration in various ways in various industries, let me tell you the 3 things that I know stop your business from growing, but it also stops your life from growing the way that you intended. The first one is going to be the customer journey. One thing that a lot of entrepreneurs do is every little step along that customer journey, you are awesome. First of all, you are awesome at doing what you do in your business, meaning that you probably have people all the time say, oh, I need what you have. Oh, I need to work with you. And you might even have quite a few of them who jump on board and start working with you. But where you lose them is that you don't have the processes in place. And so they jump on board and they're ready to go. And then you ghost them. You don't mean to ghost them, but you do, because you don't have a process in place of what their next step is, and then their next step, and their next step, and their next step. That is called your workflow. You don't have a workflow for your customers to follow. And a couple of things may happen, unfortunately, is that you're going to lose that person as a customer, but not just that person. You're going to lose all the people that that person would have referred to you. Even if they did it indirectly, you're going to lose that good press about them talking about, oh my God, let me tell you what such and such and who did for me and my business, how they made that change. Right?
I love that. And you know what I was going to say here is just I mean, you mentioned three things, and we're starting with this one thing. And the main part of what you're describing is that it's so bespoke, that it's so like white glove and unique to you, that if you haven't already created this step by step workflow through
Mm-hmm.
automations and other things, then you actually haven't been able to elevate that unique experience to make it feel like a VIP experience with you,
Exactly.
which is really unfortunate because I know that everyone here who's joining us for the conversation has that experience, like offers that experience, but they're burnt out, but they're
Exactly.
done, they're tired, or they're not making the sales because they're so busy dotting T's and crossing I's.
Exactly. Exactly.
Backwards.
Exactly. You're backwards, you're turned upside down, you are walking in the wrong direction. And so once you bring that client on, once you bring that customer on, it should be a bespoke experience. But that does not mean that it can't be a system. You can systematize that bespoke experience because they need to feel like they are your only client, which of course is not reality because you have bills to pay. But they need to feel that way in order to stay your client and to refer you to the people that they know who could be your clients, and also for them to be able to be your good press. You want raving fans. And we all know what the opposite of raving fans is, right? Yeah, and we don't want that. We don't want that at all.
And that should all be baked into the client experience. But and
Exactly.
this is something that, I mean, people may be coming and going, okay, Shauna, that's great. That's a part of like the service of your clients. What does this have to do with marketing? What does this have to do with branding? Right. And I'm going to just take a minute to say, okay, let's rewind the clock a little bit. Now, before they say yes to working with you, that whole sales process, that whole marketing experience should have the same dynamic. If your fingers are in everything within that and you don't have the systems and processes set up to guide people through their sales journey with you,
Mm,
then it makes sense to me that you may not have that same journey within the back end. Right. But that
exactly.
journey in the back end that is supposed to be an expansion of that sales and marketing journey, that
Yes.
journey there is equally important for your sales and marketing, because as you said, the referrals, as you and the experience, if they experience your brand in such a way that feels like, oh my gosh, she's there for me, it's not really you. Like, it's you, right? You've put your
Right.
heart and soul into the what you've created to give to them. You've thought so deeply and thoroughly about the system, the workflow you've created. So it is you and it is your heart, but you don't have to be the one doing all of the
Mhm.
things and all the pieces. So
Exactly.
just understand that difference. They feel that and they're like, this brand makes me feel seen, heard, understood without you burning out. And as a part of that experience, you're saying, by the way, friend, because we've become friends now, because we've really connected, because I'm serving you.
Mhm.
If you know anybody else who would love this type of experience, now you're
Mhm.
marketing. Now you're actually getting those referrals, those connections.
Exactly. And I'm so glad you said connection because it's all about the connection. You connect with them during your marketing experience before they become your client. You have to stay connected with them, but it does not necessarily have to be you, because if you're doing everything, then burnout is going to be your result, and you're going to lose clients.
Mhm.
Clients that you brought in, but also those that they could bring in. Now, and that's just the first thing. The other issue that a lot of entrepreneurs deal with, that stops them from growing, stops them from um, matching their energy and their bank account, because you put a lot of energy into it. And from marketing, you put a lot of energy into telling people this is what I offer. But if you don't communicate that to the people that are supporting you, because you should have somebody supporting you, even if it's part-time, but those people that are supporting you, then they are not going to be able to continue that experience. And again, what you end up is losing clients that you brought in, but losing clients that you could have brought in if that person spoke well of you. They became your raving fan. And so it's not just your internal communications to the team or the support that you're using that you have, but it's also your communication to those people that you're collaborating with, your vendors, all of those. If everything is stuck here in your head, then there is no connection. There's no connection to your processes. There's no connection to your team. There's no connection. And without connection, there is no growth. Yeah, there's some scalability.
Like this, this is it. Like I feel like whatever that it is, this is it. And I just want to make this a little bit more tangible for people by giving a small example, because I'm actually doing this right now. Something that I've done, I've redone, I've washed it, rinsed it, thrown it out, and redone it again. But I'm doing it again. And what is this? This is my referral book. So I have like you can call it a pitch deck, right? You need to have something in place if you want to get those referrals, if you want to have collaborators and connections who actually support you in what you're doing. You need to have something that really clearly and quickly articulates who you serve, like what you do, who you serve, how you do it, all who, what, where, when, why, and how of all of you and your business that you can give to them, that not only gives them just that, because that's whatever, that's like giving somebody I'm holding something right now. What are these? Business card. I've got a business card up on my wall. A business card. And then they put it in their pocket or they throw it out or something. You can't just do that. This is where the systems and processes work. This is where the internal and external communications happen. This is where you say, okay, how do we follow up with them? What does that look like? What sort of conversations are we having? And have we given them the tools to succeed? Do they have all of our links? Have we given them swipe copy that they can just copy and paste when they want to make an introduction, so that they don't need to sit there and think, oh, what am I going to write? Exactly. All of those are a part of it.
Exactly. And I'm not sure about our time, but you said you're going to keep up with time, but I wanted to make sure that we talk about also, because all of those things that we said, they're all involved with connection. But then the biggest one is your daily operations. You hear the catchphrase now of you want to get out of the weeds of your business. You want to get out of the day-to-day operations. And I've actually talked to entrepreneurs who say, no, I don't want to, because I don't want to lose sight of my business. But by holding on to every step, keeping it in your head, not having the processes in place for people to actually support you, you're losing your business. You are strangling your business. And
yes, and you just said something that you reminded me of a conversation we had. So it's not just about having the systems to support. Oh, what did you just said something. It was you're supporting so that people can support you, but so that you can support yourself.
Exactly.
Systems. And yes, because if you don't know exactly how you do a thing, how can you possibly hire out, first of all, if you're ready to grow? But then also, how do you know if you've missed a step and something's fallen through the cracks?
And see, what normally happens is that you rewrite it every time. You don't just miss a step. You recreate that process every time when you don't have a system in place. And so your daily operations is basically, it's a Band-Aid process of you holding together, like, what fires am I putting out today? That should not be your daily issue. You need to, if you had processes in place, first of all, if you have processes in place, you can have a support team that not just support you, but they actually contribute to your bottom line. That's why I'm also a cash flow strategist. In addition to being an online business manager, is like I have an MBA, and so I know about business. And I've been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years officially. And I've been building other people's businesses for almost 40 years in every administrative area that I've been in. But the thing is, with all of that, if you don't have processes in place, those people that you have hired to delegate this and that to, that you probably haven't let go of, but the ones that you've hired to do that, they cannot they can't just take that and go with it. They need to know how you do it, but they need to be able to be empowered to answer questions. They need to be able to and empowered to interpret that information. And that is how you get those 18 people who not just interpret the information, but they go beyond, they build upon it, and they bring in clients because of the level of service that they are able to do, because they've been empowered. They have the information. They know where you're going with it. They know what things connect to each other and why something has to be done this way so that it can have this type of output or outcome. Like you said, bespoke means that it needs to look a certain way because it needs to have a certain outcome. But so it's the daily operations that people get stuck in the weeds on, and they feel like they're stuck behind their computer. Those things have to be done. You need to know who your clients are. You need to know how much they're paying you. You need to know how much you're paying for your tools that you are purchasing. You need to know these things so that you can run your business. But you also they don't need to take up hours and hours and hours of your day, because when you're doing that, who's actually out there marketing for you? Who's out there saying, hey, this is the person that I need? So when we have organized workflows, customer journey, people know what your customers know where they're going. You know where they're going, and all your team knows where they're going and when it's happening. Your communications, when you have processes for that, then everything, first of all, your team ain't gonna be coming to you for every little thing.
That
And yes, they won't be coming
honest.
to you.
I've been there. I've been there, right? When you've got,
Y'all
and I
have.
I call them ducklings. They're your little ducklings. Peep, 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 peep. And you're like, listen, I've told you how to do this. Please do this. And if you
But
have
that,
a working system and process, and if somebody pops in, and after you can, this is the thing, this is one of the coolest things about having working systems and processes for this type of conversation, is that you can tell really quickly if somebody's going to work. Right? Somebody comes into your space, if they can't hop on board, and you know you've got a very clear system, you've got an SOP that like is dummy proof. There's a video, there's a this, that, like it's there, right? And it's like a couple weeks in, and they're like, I don't know how. Okay, no. I have a women's business group that I go to, and one of their favorite things is fire fast, hire slow. And that sounds ruthless. It does. I get it. It sounds ruthless. But if you've got the infrastructure to support that, if you're like, no, seriously though, you should know this, then yeah, let them go. No, move on.
exactly. And along with that, as long as you also in giving them that information that they need to, you need to have realistic expectations. Like give them an opportunity and communicate those expectations to them so that they know, hey, after doing this, you should be able to do this, this, and that. Now that's just an aside, because my bachelor's degree is in human resources. So I think about it like that's like, okay, we're giving them the tools, but we need to give them expectations. Again, processes and systems. When everybody involved in the situation knows what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and sometimes they need to know why it needs to be done so that they can make those connections. When they know
That's
all of those things, then they are not just team members, they are actually contributing to your bottom line. And that is always the goal, to make sure that everybody that's a part of your team, even if they're never see an actual customer, but that what they do contributes to that customer's journey, contributes to the communication process to that customer, to their teammates, and that everything that they do on a daily basis makes a difference to your processes, but also to your customers and your overall goal. But so my tagline is organized workflows lead to maximized cash flows. Because when you are not organized, it shows. It shows in the clients that you're losing. It shows in the late nights that you are in front of your laptop, computer, wherever, on your phone working. That is where it shows. It shows in your family looking at you like, hey, who are you? I haven't seen you in a while. It shows in those moments when you're lying in bed and you're sad because you missed the recital. You meant to go to the recital. You meant to go to the practice. It shows when you decide that, okay, I think I'm just going to start over. I'm going to let this business go because you're burned out.
right.
When you are not organized in your workflows, in your business, it shows. And most of all, it shows in your health as well. Your body is going to tell you, your body remembers more than anything else. Your body is going to, because we all stress. So organized workflows are going to lead to your maximized cash flows. And we all want that because we want our energy and our bank account they need to be friends.
Oh
You know,
yes.
they
Oh,
need to be real close friends.
I'm
But
here for this. And that's the thing. Like we're building. I feel like a broken record lately. Like we're building a business support our lifestyle, not the other way around. Like this is the point. This is why I listen to my audiobooks, or I sit in my hammock on not snowy days, or I garden and I go to my kids you said recital, but choir performances, and this is why I do all these things, and I have the time to volunteer at the school because that's what I value, that's what I prioritize, and I've got these back end systems that allow me to do that. And
yeah,
that's what we're talking about here. Like it's not just,
exactly.
okay, sure, we need to have a client workflow and we need to have communications and we need to have daily ops. It's not these buzzwords. It's the real lived experience that matters.
Mhm, mhm.
Now we've dove into this like heavy, 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 heavy. Like I feel like we just like was like, okay, we're gonna go head first, do a triple flip in a whatever, who's it, Olympic style into the pool, and
Oh my gosh.
but I know that we could get even deeper. However, that could probably get really stressful in and of itself. So instead of doing that, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to challenge you to think of one thing that we can do today. All the people who have joined us for this conversations, you and I, perhaps just to as a reflection or as an action step moving forward. One thing that would really move the needle for us today, to really just what you said, organize your workflows so that we can have maximized cash flows. Now, before you tell us, because I know finding one thing in that mess can be really challenging, I'm going to give you a second to think about it and remind everyone else who's joined us today that we have conversations like this every single week. That if you would like to join us for these conversations, make sure you hit the bell, subscribe, and get the notification that says, hey, by the way, we're talking again. And you can just shoot the shit with us. Like, come in here and give us your 2 cents, right? Like, comment. This is a really important part of growing a business, is creating the connections that count. We've talked about connections all day today. Be a part of that and reach out. Now with that, I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell people what they need to hear.
Okay. So basically, Shauna really just said it, is you need to connect what you do. The great thing that you do, you need to connect it to a system so that you can have a life beyond your business. Just So my challenge to you is the process. Just take one process today, write it down. You don't have to go and get a specific program or whatever. Get a pen and paper, speak it into your phone, but take one process and step it out. Step one, step two, step three, step four. Hopefully, you take the process that is the most annoying to you and get that one and just kind of step it out, because that'll be the first step to you actually letting it go and letting it go so that it can be done the way that you do it without you having to do it.
That's amazing. And let people know a little bit about what we have on the screen today.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Shauna. You're so awesome. But okay, so the QR code will give you an opportunity to just have a chat with me. I love meeting new entrepreneurs, and I'm not just talking about business. I want to know a little bit about you, because life is about relationships, and I love building relationships. And if we see that we can work a little bit together, then we'll put together another link and we'll go forward. But let's just chat. That'll take you straight to my chat.
I love it. I love it so much. And you know what? This is a really great opportunity to just remember that it doesn't have to be the big things that make the biggest impact in what you do in your business. It's actually more likely to be the little things. If you haven't read Atomic Habits, this will show you what I mean. This book is phenomenal. And one of the first stories it'll tell you right at the beginning, I could probably find it for you, to be honest, is when there's a bike, bikers, what is that? The Tour de France and stuff like that. Okay. Tour de France, and they make these just tiny little tweaks to the way they ride their bike and to the way they do. And that, instead of buying a whole new bike, the best, the fastest, instead of changing your whole outfit or whatever, tiny little micro changes, and they win. It's the micro changes that matter. So I wrote down here, step it out, because that's my next job. Juanita told us we've got this challenge, step it out. And if you're wondering, well, which one do I do? Well, there's so much to do. Okay, don't worry about it. Don't panic, because I know there's a lot of stuff. Just one. Just pick one. How do you check your emails? Great example. How do you track the hours that you work with your clients? How do you create how do you create content? Yes, absolutely. How do you send people the resources that they need after a call? You're having a coaching call, you have a really great call, you've promised them these 5 different things, or you've asked them to take action items, but you also need to give them a summary in XYZ. Okay.
How do you do that?
Step it out. So those are just a few examples. If you want more examples, reach out to us. We have a whole ton of them in our back pockets. Myself, Juanita has way more than I do, because I've got things trust me, I've got things on my end that I haven't stepped out yet. We're all human and we're not here to judge, but this is a really great first step, because I know one thing in particular that I need to step out is that inbox, because don't, guys. So with that, I'm going to leave you all to have a great rest of the day. And Juanita, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. This is absolutely a direly needed one.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate you.
We'll see you guys all soon. See you later.